There is a moment in every life when the weight of the past becomes so heavy it suffocates any vision of the future. A moment when yesterday's choices echo so loudly inside you that they seem to define who you are today. But I'm here to tell you something you may not be ready to hear. Your future was decided yesterday, but it can still be rewritten tomorrow. Sounds contradictory? Maybe. Because most people live under the illusion that time is a straight, unchangeable line, as if everything has already been written on invisible pages of existence. But that's a lie. The most powerful truth you'll hear today is this. You have the power to rewrite your story with every decision you make now. Not tomorrow, not after you fix all your problems, not when circumstances are perfect now. In the middle of the chaos, in the silence of your thoughts, in the quietness of an apparently mundane moment, lies the power to change everything. You think Thomas Edison woke up one day and decided to invent the light bulb because he had all the answers? He failed over 1,000 times before finding the right filament combination. But he knew something few understand. Each failure was just more information about what didn't work, and that brought him closer to the solution. And it wasn't luck, it was purpose, it was determination. It was the refusal to accept limits imposed by others or by himself. The same force that moved Edison, Carnegie, Lincoln, Ford, Madam C.J. Walker, Walt Disney, and so many others who defied impossibility is within you. It's the same energy that made a poor man born in Kentucky, without access to formal education, become Abraham Lincoln President of the United States and a symbol of the fight against slavery. It's the same flame that drove Henry Ford to build cars accessible to everyone, even when engineers said it was impossible. It's the same passion that led Walt Disney to be fired from a newspaper for lacking creativity, only to later create a magical universe that would enchant generations. What did all these men and women have in common? They understood that destiny isn't a sentence, it's a continuous construction, and that each day is a new opportunity to shape what comes next. But the great tragedy of humanity is that most people live on autopilot. They follow routines, repeat patterns, feed fears, and let circumstances dictate their pace. They live as if they've signed a contract with the past, as if yesterday's mistakes were guarantees of tomorrow's failure. And so they go to sleep year after year while time moves forward and they stay still. If you truly want to transform your life, you must first understand one thing. Nothing changes until you change. And change doesn't come from the outside. It begins within. Your mindset, your beliefs, your worldview, your relationship with failure, your courage to dream big things, all of this defines the kind of life you will live. Whose work inspired millions around the world nearly a century ago, wrote a phrase that remains more relevant than ever: whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. It sounds simple, almost cliche, but it's deeply true. The problem is that many read it and stop there. They don't understand that this law only works when you live it, when you internalize it to the point of feeling its reality pulsing through your veins. So, what is your mind projecting today? A life of mediocrity? Of complacency? Of endless waiting for a better tomorrow that never arrives? Or are you using this incredible, innate divine power to create a future no one has seen yet? The human mind is the most powerful machine that exists, but it needs fuel, and that fuel is faith, clarity, discipline, consistent action, and gratitude. These are the tools that separate visionaries from dreamers, achievers from hopefuls, giants from spectators. And know this, you don't need to wait for a dramatic revelation, an epic event, or a miracle to begin. You can choose right now to change the course of your story. You can choose to stop making excuses and take full responsibility for your life. You can choose to look in the mirror and see not someone trapped by the past, but an architect of the future. Because the truth is this, your life isn't an accident. It's a choice. And every choice you make today is shaping the person you will be tomorrow. And if you keep living the way you're living now without questioning, without acting, without daring, then yes, your future is already decided. But if you decide in this very moment that you will no longer accept less than you deserve, that you will face your fears, that you will pursue your passions with everything you've got, then, My friend, you've just taken the first step toward rewriting your own story. And that story hasn't even begun yet. It doesn't matter where you are now, whether you're drowning in doubt, surrounded by debt, lost without knowing which path to take. What matters is that you're still here, breathing, thinking, feeling. And that means there's still time to change, to grow, to evolve, to transcend. Evolution isn't optional, it's inevitable. The only question is, will you evolve through external pressure or through internal choice? Because if you don't take control of your transformation, life will do it for you, and usually in a painful way. Pain is nature's last resort to force us to pay attention. How many of us only change when we're hit by loss, illness, separation, bankruptcy? How many only wake up when life ties such a strong knot that pretending everything is fine becomes impossible? That's not conscious evolution, it's a late reaction. And that's why so many remain trapped in cycles of suffering, never breaking the pattern. But you can change that today, now, this instant. Just decide you won't let circumstances dictate your destiny anymore. Decide you'll take the role of protagonist in your own story. Decide you'll invest in yourself as much as you invest in distractions, social media, empty conversations, and fleeting entertainment. You are the sole author of your rise. And that may sound like a heavy burden, but it's actually a gift. Because if you are the author of your story, then you're also the editor. And you can delete, rewrite, cut, expand, do whatever it takes to turn your narrative into something worthy of being remembered. Have you noticed how people admire stories of overcoming? How they get emotional watching biographies of people who started from nothing and became legends? That's because deep down, we all carry a desire for meaning. We want to feel that our lives matter, that we'll leave a legacy, that our journey will have been worth it. And that legacy begins with small daily decisions, with what you choose to eat, with who you spend your time with the books you read, with the goals you set, with the words you use to describe yourself. All of these are bricks in the construction of your future. And if you're not careful, you might be building a prison disguised as comfort. The greatest villain of modern humanity isn't failure, it's complacency. The false sense of security that keeps us paralyzed, smiling at cameras while dying inside. It's the illusion that we're progressing just because we're not doing badly. But stagnation isn't safety, it's delaying collapse. You weren't made for that. You were made to grow, to learn, to fail, to rise, to try again, to go further, to discover what's on the other side of fear, to live with purpose, intensity, and passion. And it starts with one simple yet revolutionary act. Stop seeking external approval and start seeking inner authenticity. Stop asking others what you should do with your life and start listening to the voice whispering softly inside you about what you truly want. Because the greatest betrayal you can commit against yourself is to live the life others expect of you. When you do that, you deny the potential within you. You abandon your genius. You become a weak reflection of what you could be. Remember, no one will save you. No one will show up out of nowhere with the answers. No one will open the doors you haven't knocked on first. The world doesn't reward intentions. It rewards action, courage, persistence, determination, sacrifice, discipline. That doesn't mean you have to do everything alone. Quite the opposite. The greatest successes in history were built with support, guidance, collaboration. But the initial push, the spark that lights the fire, that has to come from within. Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb by chance. He had a team, resources, mentors, but he also had obsession, a passion so deep for progress that it moved him even on the hardest days. And it was that passion that kept him steady in the face of every failure. The same goes for you. Your passion is what will keep you steady when the winds of adversity blow. Your passion is what will give you strength to keep going when everything seems lost. Your passion is what will connect you with the right people, the right opportunities, the right moment. So tell me, what moves you? What makes your heart beat faster? What makes you lose track of time? What would you do even without money, recognition, applause? That answer is the core of your mission, and it's from there that you will build your greatness, because life isn't just about survival. It's meant to be lived with passion, with purpose, with courage. And you have everything you need to begin now. It all depends on you. Life doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just keeps moving with or without you. And as the world spins at high speed, people divide into those who are carried by the current and those who decide to swim against it, not out of suffering, but out of conscious choice, because they know that real strength isn't in ease, but in resistance, in the constant fight against self-imposed limits, in the decision to be more than the reflection of your circumstances. And this is where discipline comes in, not as punishment, but as a sacred commitment to your future. Discipline is what separates the dreamer from the builder. It's the silent bridge between desire and achievement. It's the quiet habit that, day after day, turns small actions into great victories. You've probably wondered why so many people start something with enthusiasm only to quit weeks later. Because they confuse motivation with consistency. Motivation comes and goes. It rises with inspiration and fades with frustration. But discipline is cold, rational, relentless. It doesn't depend on feeling good. It exists even when you don't want to continue. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Think of someone like Elon Musk. Many only see the success of Tesla, SpaceX, Neuralink. Few see the sleepless nights, the years of debt, the hundreds of rejections, the millions invested in technologies no one believed in. What kept this man moving wasn't luck. It was obsession, vision, a brutal discipline with himself. He didn't wait for perfect conditions. He started from zero with failures, criticism, fear, and he kept going. The same thing happened with Madam C.J. Walker, the first self-made female millionaire in the United States. Born the daughter of slaves, widowed at 20, a single mother washing clothes for less than $1 a day, she could have accepted her reality as destiny, but she didn't. Instead, she studied, experimented, created hair products for black women, knocked door to door, built a company, and trained other women to do the same. Her fortune was built through hard work, persistence, and a vision that went beyond her time. She didn't have privilege. She had purpose, the same purpose that can move you now. Because purpose isn't something grand written in self-help books. Purpose is a deep feeling that your existence has reason to be, that you were born for something greater than simply occupying space, that there is a flame inside you that, when fed, can illuminate not only your own journey, but also that of others. And that's what makes life meaningful, not just surviving but serving, not just accumulating but impacting, not just existing but evolving. But serving doesn't mean sacrificing yourself. Evolving doesn't mean losing yourself. It means understanding that your personal greatness is directly proportional to the value you deliver to the world. The more you develop, the more you can help. The clearer you are about yourself, the more capable you are of guiding others. That's why gratitude isn't just a passing emotion, it's a tool of power. Grateful isn't someone who says thank you once in a while. Grateful is someone who lives with awareness that everything you have, even the air you breathe, is a temporary gift, and that each day is a unique opportunity to create something that matters. Gratitude doesn't minimize your challenges. It expands your perspective. It allows you to look beyond immediate pain, recognize progress made, and keep faith during storms. It's easy to be grateful when things go well. Hard and transformative is being grateful when everything seems to fall apart. Because it's in these moments that we discover our true strength, when we're forced to confront our weaknesses, question our beliefs, and rebuild from the rubble. And then resilience emerges, that almost magical ability to rise again, not once, but every time it's necessary. Abraham Lincoln lost consecutive elections before becoming president. Steve Jobs was fired from the Apple he founded. J.K. Rowling was a single mother living off welfare before writing Harry Potter. They all faced seemingly insurmountable defeats. But what sets them apart isn't the absence of hardship, it's how they responded to it. Resilience isn't ignoring pain. It's accepting it, learning from it, and moving forward. It's knowing that falling doesn't mean failing, it means you tried. And those who try, at least, have a chance to succeed. So if today you're tired, keep going. If you're wounded, keep moving. If you doubt yourself, still act. Because the universe doesn't reward talent alone. It rewards those who never stop. Those who, even afraid, choose to act. Those who, even hurting, decide to keep going. And in that continuous movement arises adaptability, another essential quality for those who wish to shape their own destiny. We live in an era of constant change. Technology evolves in months, careers shift in years, trends become realities in weeks, and those who don't adapt get left behind. Adaptability isn't superficial flexibility. It's the ability to redefine your strategies without losing sight of your purpose. It's understanding that paths may change, but the destination is still defined by you. It's accepting that not all doors will open as planned, but others, completely unexpected, may appear in their place. Remember, Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb because he followed the expected path. He tried hundreds of different materials until he found the right one. Each wrong attempt was an adaptation. Each failure was a lesson. And in the end, it didn't matter how many times he failed. What mattered is that he never stopped trying. The same applies to you. Your journey doesn't need to be linear. It can have curves, climbs, descents, dead ends. But as long as you keep learning, growing, and adjusting your course, you'll be on the right path. Because true success isn't achieved through perfection. It's built with patience, persistence, and the courage to begin again. And that brings us to the last, yet perhaps most important virtue of this journey, continuous learning. You may have all the talent in the world, but if you're not willing to learn, grow, and expand your mind, your potential will be limited. Because knowledge is the most valuable currency of the 20th century. And we're not talking about diplomas or certificates, we're talking about curiosity, humility, openness to listen, read, question, experiment. The greatest mentors in history weren't formal teachers. They were men and women who sought wisdom wherever it existed, who read books when books were rare, who talked to different people, who traveled, observed, reflected, wrote. Leonardo da Vinci, for example, wasn't just a painter. He was a scientist, engineer, writer, inventor. And what made him extraordinary wasn't just talent, but an insatiable thirst to understand the world. He filled journals with notes, questions, sketches, theories. He was constantly learning, questioning, reinventing himself, and that's what you must seek, to be an eternal student of life. Because the more you learn, the more you realize how much more there is to learn. And in that pursuit, you become wiser, more prepared, more capable of handling any challenge ahead. So tell me, what are you doing today to become a better version of yourself? Are you reading? Are you studying? Are you practicing? Are you surrounding yourself with people who elevate your energy? Are you taking action even when you don't feel motivated? Because that's what defines destiny, the sum of small decisions repeated with consistency. And each of those decisions begins with one word: choice. You choose to be complacent or courageous. You choose to stay trapped in the past or build a new future. You choose to complain or act. You choose to give up or keep going. And if you're hearing this now, it means there's still time. Time to change, time to grow, time to become someone worthy of admiration. Because your future was already decided yesterday, but tomorrow is still blank. And you have the power to write it with courage, with passion, with purpose, and with the absolute certainty that if you keep going, you will get there. Have you ever looked at someone who achieved something extraordinary and asked yourself, how did he get there? Maybe it was an entrepreneur who built an empire, an artist whose work touches millions, an athlete who broke human limits, or maybe someone closer, a friend, relative, or colleague who seems to have that inner strength you haven't found yet. And when you see these people, you might feel a mix of admiration and doubt, maybe even disguised jealousy as inspiration. But the truth is simple. They are not different from you. They don't have special genes or magical powers. What sets them apart is how they face life and their unwavering commitment to continuous growth, because growth isn't optional. It's the only real form of evolution. And evolution isn't comfortable. It requires confrontation. It demands change. It asks you to abandon old identities, old habits, old excuses. And that hurts. It hurts because it means leaving behind parts of yourself that no longer serve you, even if they feel familiar. But here's the beauty of transformation. It doesn't happen in a dramatic moment. It happens in the quiet moments when you decide to do things differently. When you choose to wake up early, even when you don't want to. When you opt to read a book instead of scrolling through social media. When you decide to speak the truth, even if it's hard. When you choose to stop waiting for the right time and start acting with what you have now. These moments accumulate, day after day, month after month, year after year. And suddenly you look back and realize you're not the same person anymore. You've grown, changed, evolved. And now you live at a level of awareness, purpose, and impact that once seemed inaccessible. This is the point where many make a grave mistake. They believe that upon reaching a certain level of success or stability, they can relax, that they can slow down, reduce pressure, allow themselves to settle, but that's the perfect recipe for decline. Because growth isn't a destination, it's a constant state. Napoleon Hill, in his immortal work, Think and Grow Rich, wrote, "Failure disappears before persistent effort." But he also warned that success can disappear before complacency. Many of the great men and women in history fell not for lack of talent, but for having stopped growing, for believing they had already arrived. Life doesn't reward only those who start strong. It rewards those who finish stronger. So, if you truly want to create a future worth living, you must understand that your personal development never ends. You don't wake up one day and say, "Done, now I'm complete." That doesn't exist. The human being is dynamic, always changing, and the more you accept that, the freer you'll feel to keep growing. This includes learning from those who know more, includes listening to criticism, includes admitting mistakes, includes asking for help, includes recognizing that no matter how much you've achieved, there will always be something new to discover. And that's the beauty of the journey. We never know everything. We never master all variables. And that's good, because it's in uncertainty that creativity is born. In doubt that curiosity arises. In the unknown that we find new possibilities. Think of someone like Albert Einstein. He revolutionized modern physics with theories that would forever change our understanding of the universe. But even he, until the end of his life, continued studying, questioning, trying to find answers to what no one had yet understood. He knew knowledge was infinite and that every answer only led to new questions. And that's what you should pursue, a mind that is open, humble, and insatiably curious. Because as long as there is learning, there is growth. As long as there is growth, there is evolution. And as long as there is evolution, you will continue shaping a future beyond what your eyes can see today. But growth alone isn't enough. It needs to be guided by clarity. Because without clarity, progress becomes random. Without clarity, you may be running fast, but in the wrong direction. And then years later, you wake up tired and frustrated, not understanding where you ended up. Clarity is the map of your journey. It's what defines where you are, where you want to go, and how you'll get there. It's the compass that keeps you aligned with your purpose, even when the winds blow strongly against you. And clarity doesn't come out of nowhere. It's built through reflection, self-awareness, and brutal honesty with yourself. It takes looking inward and asking, who am I? What do I want? Why do I want it? And what am I willing to sacrifice to get it? Many fear these questions because they require confronting uncomfortable truths. They require abandoning illusions. They require recognizing that perhaps you've been living a life that isn't yours, that perhaps your goals were set by others, that perhaps your ambitions are just copies of what society expects from you. But when you face these truths, something incredible happens. You are freed from external expectations, from social pressures, from standards that make no sense for you. And then finally, you begin to live authentically. Authenticity is what makes a life extraordinary. Not money, not title, not fame, but the deep feeling that you are being true to yourself, that you are living according to your values, that you are honoring the pact you made with yourself, even when no one is watching. And this is where purpose comes in. Purpose isn't a beautiful slogan written on mugs. It's an internal force that moves you even when the world seems to conspire against you. It's what gives meaning to your actions, what keeps you steady in adversity, what makes you rise even when everything seems lost. Purpose is what separates an ordinary life from a remarkable one. And finding that purpose isn't easy. It takes time, it takes pain, it takes failure, it takes questioning, it takes reinvention, but when you finally find it, everything changes. Decisions become clearer. Sacrifices make sense. Difficulties are accepted as part of the process. And every step taken feels aligned with something greater. Because purpose isn't about you. It's about how you can use your life to impact other lives, about how you can leave the world better than you found it, about how you can serve, teach, guide, inspire. And when you live with purpose, it doesn't matter how many times you fall, because there will always be a reason to rise. Because the world needs you. Needs your voice, your gift, your vision, your heart. And that's why you can't give up, can't return to comfort zones, can't pretend everything is fine when it's not, because you were born for more, for much more. And if you're reading this now, it means there's still time. Time to change, time to grow, time to evolve, time to become the highest version of yourself. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, and ask the most important question of your life. Who will I become? And don't say, I don't know. Because the answer is within you. It's in your unfulfilled dreams, in your unspoken desires, in the passions you've suppressed out of fear, in the talents you've underestimated. The answer is in you. It all depends on you believing it, acting on it, living as if it's true. Because your future was decided yesterday, but what will be born tomorrow? That is still in your hands.